Is the vinyl revival sustainable? Can we continue to see the kind of growth we saw in 2020? Do we even want to see that kind of growth continue? That is what we are tackling today in this supersized episode. And joining me will be special guest Christina, aka the Vinyl Guru. You don't want to miss this one. Be right back. Hi, my name is Frank. Welcome back to channel 33 RPM, your channel for vinyl, gear, and more. I'll just say at the top, something special today. Got a guest on channel 33 RPM. We have joining us from Toronto, Christina, aka Vinyl Guru. She's a musician, she's a record collector, and she's a YouTube personality. Welcome.
Pleasure, darling. Pleasure.
Appreciate you joining us here on CH33 today. You ready for this?
Always, baby. Let's go.
Let's dive in. We're talking, is the vinyl revival sustainable? But first, some statistics for you. So, a couple articles I pulled up here I thought was interesting. This first one notes that vinyl record sales surpassed those of CDs in the US for the first time since 1986. For the first half of 2020, Americans spent $232 million on records compared to $139 million on CDs. Also, this other article here in Billboard noted that vinyl album sales hit an historic high in the US after Black Friday 2020. And during the week of November 27th to December 3rd, Americans bought 1.3 million albums. And the largest sales week for the format since Nielsen Music MRC data began electronically tracking music sales in 1991. So, I mean, this is America we're talking about. I'm not sure what else is going on elsewhere or here in Canada where we're at. But Christina, what do you make of all this?
Yeah, well, let's keep it real, honey. We all revolve around America. So if America thrives, we all thrive. Okay. You know, they say that's the classic line. If it works there, it works anywhere. Well, okay, Frankie, let's keep it real. Let's digest this and dissect it for what it is. Like,
yep.
Okay, if you want to talk vinyl resurgence, you need to figure out why vinyl even came back, right? Like, or how it came back. And I really started to think about that, like the philosophical reasons. And I realized like there's different factors to this because they're completely different shoppers, Frankie. And I know you'll probably agree with this. The three different shoppers I realized are the different generations, of course. You've got the youth who I think are the ones in the stores right now. They're the ones saving the stores. They're the ones in the stores saving it because they're the curious ones. They're the ones that are thirsting to buy anything and everything because they don't have anything. So they're buying young people.
How do you define young people?
Young people are anybody like under 25, I would say. These people have not, like, I don't want to say not been in a record store prior to the vinyl resurgence, but, you know, yeah. So, okay. Because here's the thing, before the vinyl resurgence, we were living in a bit of a invisible war, honey. Everything is digital. So when everything is digital, what do you need? Something tangible around you. Like it's of course the next reaction, the guttural reaction. But to go back to that, so all the kids are in the stores now because of this, because they feel like they've been robbed. I think they've been robbed of their youth, of what is true, you know, and so that's the first shopper, the young cat, who has a style of shopping that is very I'm going to buy everything because I don't have anything, and I'm just going to buy everything I like because they are the curious ones, right? So they're the curious one. That's number one. Two is going to be the boomer, who is somebody who's lived with vinyl. They know vinyl very well. They might have let go of theirs, so they feel like they need to scoop all of that back. So they're buying their records for nostalgia more than anything. So those cats are buying records they know. This is not curious shopper.
Right.
This is a shopper.
They're buying The Wall again, and they're buying Abbey Road again.
You got it. Yeah. They're not really discovering. They're acknowledging, it's waving high fives to an old friend, you know what I mean? So there's that shopper.
I don't fall into either of those because I'm not under 25. I'm not a boomer. I am Generation X. So is this what you're coming to?
So this is it. I think the third shopper is the cat that falls right in between there, that I would consider more of the digger buyer. This is the buyer who bought the things they like, and they've not yet gotten to that place where they buy what they know, like they're at that sweet spot where they buy things they don't know. They buy things, make them curious. I think that's the other person kind of saving the stores. That's the one that buys obscure, weird, very indie labels and all that stuff, I think those are the ones, though, that generally are the main sources of income. So, okay, now we know the three different shoppers. Now I think all you need to do is kind of figure out how to market to each, consumer, each audience. And then I think that's pretty much how they nailed the resurgence to some degree.
So I'm going to stop you there. I'm going to cut you off. But so do you feel it's these three groups who are equally contributing to this? And I don't care for the word resurgence or revival, but I guess that's what it is. But is these three groups equally contributing to this resurgence?
Yeah. Well, okay. I think so. I think okay. 1 and 2, boomer and youth babies. Those are the ones that are going into the store to get. Okay. In that article that you referenced, there are artists like Harry Styles on there, Billie Eilish on there, Taylor Swift on there. Those are they're big numbers, but youth, this is targeted for the youngsters. Then you've also, on the other hand, have Beatles and Floyd and all those other records that sell constantly, year to year, constantly are on the high vinyl albums charts because of that. But there's also those other, the third branch, that digger audience. That's the one that supports all of those indie little labels that are flushing things out right now, that I don't think the other two really know about just yet, but they'll get there. You know what I mean? But like there's an audience for each generation. And I do think that they are slowly starting to know how to market to each one. I think they were just happy to get it out there. I think record labels are so happy to find a new source of income now, because no one was making money on album sales before this, so they're really excited. They're putting out various variants and they're putting out all of this stuff. But anyway,
so you raise a good point, and the fact that they're targeting different markets, because if you look at those albums, let's talk about some of them. The top selling albums for the week ending December 3rd in the US, this is Vinyl Records, is number 1 was Harry Styles. I have no clue who that is. So that's
exactly. You got to look at that when you're talking in the landscape of who are buying these records and why and how they target it. Labels have realized who to it's kind of like the Beatles phenomenon again, sweetheart, where you target the young girls will buy anything, when it comes to certain artists. Like, there you go, right there, like the Youngblood, the Harry Styles, all these cats, like there are certain ones that you will sell. He came from a group that was One Direction, that kind of was this generation's Beatles in a way. So you got to kind of see it like that. But anyway,
so that's number 1. So I didn't know it was a One Direction connection. So okay, I get it. Number 2 on that list was Queen, Greatest Hits. I think that's sort of multi-generational, right? Especially after the Freddie Mercury flick we saw a year or two back. Everyone loves Queen. Number 3 is Billie Eilish. Again, probably appealing, I would think, to the younger demographic. This is interesting. Now, number 4 is Taylor Swift. Again, going to your point, appealing to that younger demographic. So this is encouraging, I think. We're seeing younger people, judging by these figures alone, we're seeing younger people buying these albums. But once it gets past the 5, then we get into some of the more traditional stuff. The top selling albums was Fish, The Beatles, Alice in Chains, U2, and My Chemical Romance. Not YouTube, U2. So there's kind of this line in the sand. So I like this. We're seeing those different groups that you were referencing.
Isn't it cool? And I like that that there are kind of some of those art. Like I would consider somebody like a Taylor Swift to be kind of in a way multi-generational, but somebody like I don't know, like Jack White, also multi-generational kind of artist too.
The other interesting thing I'm noting here too, again, just going back to this top 10 and this, I mean, we have Billie Eilish on there and Taylor Swift. So when people think of the stereotypical record collector, it's a middle-aged man. But obviously looking at these, it's appealing maybe to younger people, but it's also, I think, I don't want to read too much into this, but maybe appealing to women as well. I mean, that's not the stereotype of the guy buying, the 55-year-old man buying Pink Floyd The Wall again. I mean, who's buying Taylor Swift? It's probably it's not me.
Yes, and you see, I don't know, I could see you listening to a Swiftie song.
Maybe, I don't know, but they're just throwing it out there. I'm impressed by the fact. I'm impressed by the fact that it seems this is multi-generational, and it is males and it's females, and I think that's all really encouraging. So how do we sustain this, or do we want to sustain it? Let's look at it from a different angle. Is this growth a good thing? Do we want to sustain it?
I think there's so many factors to it, honestly. Some people say it's gonna die. Some people say it's not. Every time I hear this, though, I'm not gonna lie to you, Frankie, you know what I think? I think about that classic line that they say, you know, rock and roll is dead, rock and roll is over. And I always connected vinyl to rock and roll in that way. Because, okay, how long did vinyl never died? How long was it gone for, really? It wasn't dead. It was just in a long coma. You know what I mean? It wasn't gone. It's just the people finally came back.
So is this I'm tongue-tied. Is it sustainable? We've seen this crazy growth. Can this go on, particularly as prices of records are increasing? So there must be a certain point too. I mean, I guess it's balanced well right now. We're at a point where people are willing to pay what they're asking, but we're seeing vinyl record prices continue to go up. Will that play into this at all? I've often wondered about that, because personally, I've slowed down on my record purchases in the past year, partly due to the rising cost of vinyl. Maybe it's a Canadian thing. I don't know. When records are $20, $25, I don't think as much about it. But when I'm paying $30, $35, I kind of give it a little more thought and think, is this worth that $35? Am I going to continue listening to it? And if record companies keep increasing the price of these records, how will that impact it all? I mean, I think there has to be a certain point where it's going to slow things down. What do you think?
I couldn't agree more. It's not just us that's getting hit with those high ticket prices. I know that for sure my Australian friends are getting hit with the heavy prices over there too. They couldn't even participate in Record Store Day this year. The entire Record Store Day, August, September, and October, because they were in full lockdown the whole time. And if they ever wanted to, they would have to pay for the record a little bit over, plus shipping. By the time they get it, each record would cost like $80, $90 each record.
Yeah.
Brutal. I think it's kind of strange that it's happening to us as well, because we have so many record plants, so I don't really get it. I do think there is a bit of a false scarcity as well, playing into it a little bit with certain things. Like it's the color variants, the record store day releases, all of that. But it adds to the fun of it. Like, why are we into vinyl? Let's be honest. Yeah, it's warm. It's a great experience, blah, 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 blah. But it's more fun. It's
Yeah.
more fun.
Yeah.
But are we going to ever want to not have fun? Probably not. I see what you're saying, the resurgence, and I see what you mean about the prices. We might not buy as much, but I don't think we'll ever stop buying, Frank.
No, and I won't either. But here's the other thing I've been wondering. Yeah. Like, I think the early part of this revival has been fueled in part by people, again, buying the Wall again and buying Abbey Road again. But eventually, aren't people going to buy all those classic or like the standards, like the Beatles and the Stones and the Pink Floyds, and then will that level off? Like, I can't see this trend being sustainable at this level in the long term. Eventually, it's going to have to plateau, I think. I mean, you're not going to get continued people coming in, I don't think, and I don't think people are going to keep. I think a large part of it's fuel that we see from the stats by people buying some of the classic albums again, and eventually, aren't people going to buy all those albums? And then what happens then? I think there definitely has to be. I thought we were plateauing already, but obviously not.
To be honest with you, the real truth, I don't think it's gonna keep rising. It's in the lovey-dovey romantics phase right now, where that first date phase. You know how it is. Everybody's glowing and gorgeous and excited, but eventually, you're right, it will plateau. And hopefully that will drive sales prices down too because of this, because there won't be as much of a demand.
Yeah.
And probably there will be another format that'll be enticing to some degree. Who knows? CD might come back. I'm just saying. Yeah. I mean, anything can happen, but I will say, I'm just kind of glad that it became more mainstream again, because in the 2000s, it was kind of lonely to be a vinyl collector if you weren't a DJ or audiophile, because those were the only two people that really still cared about vinyl. I think the people that care about it will always be a niche market. I don't think vinyl will ever fully be mainstream. This is the truth.
It is the truth.
I want it to be, but I don't.
It's gonna be on the fringes, because we talk about these album sales, but even if you look at it, so Harry Styles was number one. Right, but if you look at the numbers, he sold 15,000 records. That's, right?
Yeah.
Like the big picture, what's 15,000 records? I mean, Queen sold, what did they sell? 11,000. Alice in Chains, like 8,500. So, I mean, we're talking numbers going up and these record sales, but I mean, realistically, we're talking thousands of copies, right? We're not talking tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. So to your point, it is still very much a niche area.
For sure. Keep in mind though, with the Harry Styles record, that album came out a year ago. So it's still banking on it's not too new, honey. If anything, that Folklore and Evermore, the Taylor Swift, because that's this year, I would judge that more than the Harry Styles record. But for him to be one of the biggest artists right now and him to still have only 15,000 will give you an indication that it is still very niche market for sure.
So
1,000%. He's one of the biggest.
So, okay, one more thing I want to talk about here. How do we keep this going then? How do you get young people into this? I know we've talked before about, and I'm a proponent of encouraging young people to get into it. And I think, and people hate me when I say this, encourage them and don't discourage them when they buy these cheap all-in-one turntables and all this sort of stuff. I mean, it bugs me to no end where people rip on kids who are kind of getting into this, and they have a $50 suitcase record player in their bedroom. That's what we need. That's how you start. And I think we need to encourage that so this growth continues.
I couldn't agree more. Even though you and I will be put on a stick and roasted on the campfire like the crispy marshmallows we are for talking about that, I could not agree more with you, honey. I mean, why would you want to get a kid who doesn't know what they're doing at all, work on some really good high-end equipment? Like, let them work up to it. You know, you ride a tricycle before you ride a bicycle. You know, my uncles, they got me a cheap one to start because they didn't want to ruin to be honest, it was kind of a selfish move. They didn't want me to ruin their gear.
Yeah.
But I really think, to their point, I think that's genius, because it got me to really constantly train my hand, constantly have to practice, so that when I finally got the good gear, like, I was ready for it.
Yeah.
And it's not even about that. Like, if they want to enjoy it on there, who cares? Not everybody's gonna have a great setup. Not everybody has the room for it. Not everybody. Like, you got to keep in mind different people's situations. You know.
It drives me nuts to no end. Just, live and let live. Let people enjoy the stuff, but we need to not enjoy it. We need to actually nourish that and encourage people to start on that.
Yeah.
I mean, and who really cares? And then once they realize if they kind of like this and this is kind of cool, then you build up to it. So I think in order to encourage this lifestyle to continue, you have to do that.
Couldn't agree more, sweetheart. And one more thing to add on that, they bought it. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
Their money. Like, it's theirs, man. It's not yours. Like, the police thing is weird. But anyway.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic. I'm not gonna go there. Yeah. I'm not gonna touch the Walmart vinyl this time either, but
that's okay, honey. We all make mistakes, but it's just good to address the different opinions, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Anyway, I do think, though, like, the Walmart thing, thank God again for that, because I do think, like, it's things like that that'll get different people involved that would never really get the chance to. An awkward housewife who has like 2 newborns who just wants to buy some records now can afford it. Like, we're getting more people involved in this picture here so that it doesn't become so niche, so that we have more pressing plants and record labels to be constantly giving us and nourishing us with the albums that we want, or else we can't really sit here and demand more if we can't exactly get the numbers to show up for it,
No, you need those sort of things. It's like Urban Outfitters. You need the Urban Outfitters. You need the there's a drugstore chain here in Western Canada called London Drugs that sells records. You need like the Sunrise or whatever that's called. You need all these different options, and it just creates this large field where people can pick and choose. And we need these sort of things in order for this to continue, I think.
We do, and keep in mind those stores. All those stores market to different people. Right. Urban Outfitters for the new kids. The indie hipstery kid. That drugstore, probably like the person who doesn't want to walk too much with a walker, but still likes music. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just trying to say different markets.
I agree. I walk into Urban Outfitters and I stand out like a sore thumb, and I can feel everyone saying, "What's this guy doing here?" But it's not for me. However, it is for someone, and all this stuff contributes to all this, so we can continue to buy records, and people like you and I can continue to go on YouTube and talk about records, and it just all feeds into this whole thing that keeps going on and on and on. So it's the big picture stuff, and it's important to welcome everyone into that big tent.
Oh, I love it. I mean, you got the perfect T-shirt on to address that kind of subject matter. So yeah. Keep on spinning.
Keep on spinning.
Keep on spinning, honey. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, good. Okay. Well, that's the point I wanted to raise. Anything else you wanted to bring up on this particular topic there, Ms. Guru?
Not really, dear. I think we really touched on a lot here.
Okay, one question though that's been burning in my mind. We see you sing in front of these records all the time. How many records do you have behind you? Off topic, but come on, tell us.
Woo! Okay, glimpses, folks. Glimpses, touches, glimpses. And maybe a little more behind the veil.
Whoa. Okay, we've never seen that. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. That's a library.
We got problems.
I love it.
Yeah, I do need to do a bit of a purge, though. Space is getting to be a problem, but I'm still working on the Discogs cataloging. So to be continued on that question, Frankie. Yeah.
All right. All right, guys. Dear 33ers, I encourage you. You all know Guru, but if you don't, check out Christina's YouTube channel. I'm going to leave a link below this video. I think from this conversation, we both agree that, we kind of have to really encourage young people to get into this. And if we do that, this, I'm not going to call it a hobby, but this vinyl lifestyle can continue on for a while. Christina, thank you so much for joining us on Channel 33 RPM. Hope to have you on again sometime again.
Are you kidding me? You and all your fans are like, you got the nicest audience ever. So anytime, all the time, sweetheart. You fill my heart. Damn it.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, 33ers. I had fun doing this episode. I loved having Christina on. She was super insightful. But now it's your turn, dear 33ers. What do you think? Is a vinyl revival sustainable? Please do weigh in the comments below. If you dug this episode, appreciate a quick thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, what the heck are you waiting for? I'm also going to leave a link to Christina's YouTube channel below this video. Dear 33ers, till next time, keep on spinning.